Hello, and thanks for giving Fort Collins Heating and Air Conditioning an opportunity to provide you options for your comfort needs. We realize that we are not the only choice you have when selecting an HVAC contractor. My name is Glenn Frank, and I'm the owner of Fort Collins Heating and Air Conditioning. Back in 1934, a man named E.F. Woodworth started a company called Fort Collins Sheet Metal Company. Back then, they installed coal-fired, gravity-fed furnaces, the kind that looked like what you may associate with Freddy Krueger from Nightmare on Elm Street. They produced metal products like fireplace utensils, pokers, clinker tongs, and shovels. Metal trash cans as well as architectural sheet metal like gutters and awnings, things like that. In 1964, my father Vic and grandfather Hollis moved to Fort Collins and purchased the company. They ran it together through the late 70s. Around that time, my father and grandfather had different ideas on the future of the company. See, my father wanted the company to grow and serve more people, while my grandfather did not have that same vision. So my dad eventually left the company and started his own business that he built up and sold in the mid-80s. In 1996, I decided to start up in business. I approached my grandfather with a proposition to just buy the sheet metal equipment and what little bit of inventory he had left. He agreed and suggested that I make my business somewhat of a continuation of the long-standing company that had the town name in it by making a slight change from Fort Collins Sheet Metal to Fort Collins Heating and Air Conditioning, which better fit the type of work being done in modern times. We agreed on a price, he gave me some sage advice, and I was up and running. Today we have grown to be the premier HVAC company in Fort Collins. Now I understand that this is a big decision, a decision that you may only make once or twice in your lifetime, a decision that may be part of your home for 20 years or more. There's a lot to consider here, so I'd like to walk you through some things to help in that decision-making process. So whenever we make a big purchase, there are some important things to consider. First, you want to minimize your risk. For example, when buying a car, you would likely test drive it first. If it's clothing or shoes, you may want to try them on for fit and feel before you make a purchase. You may want to know if you can return those items within a period of time if it's not the right fit. These things help to minimize or eliminate the risk you take in making the purchase. What I realized is that in our industry, that's not the way things typically work. In fact, many times you're committing to the purchase and may even be asked to put down a deposit before the work even starts. Then you cross your fingers, hoping everything goes well. Basically, you are asked to take on all the risk as a homeowner. Now think about this for a minute. Have you ever had a bad experience with a contractor? You agreed on a price and scope of work, and they start the job and you can't get them to finish the job, or it doesn't turn out the way you expected? Either way, you're stuck not knowing any of this until after the work is done, and by then, it may be too late. But what if you had an ironclad guarantee that gave you the opportunity to get 100% of your money back in that process, fire that contractor or have them take the materials and be able to bring in a new contractor with no pushback, no questions asked? Well, that's what we have created with our one-year test drive. Once we design the perfect system with your input and desires, we give you 1 year to test drive the system. And if it is not what we promised or what you expected, and we can't make it right, then you have the option to have us remove the equipment, working in coordination with you and the new contractor, and give you back 100% of what you invested with us. So the risk becomes ours, not yours. People sometimes ask me, how can you offer this? Won't people just take advantage of you? And my answer is this: isn't that really what the customer might be feeling? I mean, what if the contractor takes advantage of me? Truth is, if we take the time to ask the right questions, size the system properly, design a system that performs the way that we say it will, and install it properly, our risk becomes very low. The next question you may be thinking is, has there ever been an instance where a customer needed to exercise this guarantee? Well, the answer is yes. There's 3 situations that come to mind that I can think of. In the next set of videos, you will see 2 examples where we gave the customer their money back and 1 example where we were able to come back and make it right for them. You can choose to watch 1 or all 3 examples or skip directly to the next section.